Today, Denver City Council, though, will make a decision about how much parking space is required at apartments as well as businesses.
Yeah, this could impact your everyday, but right now the city requires developers to include a certain number of spaces, but the city says that rule is impacting building homes. Denver 7's Maggie Bryan is joining us live.
And Maggie, this is a touchy subject, or can be, for some people who really love their parking, but you spoke with the author behind one study who's looking into the impact that this rule change could have.
Yeah, good morning, guys. We know just how coveted parking space can be for a lot of people living in Denver. Tonight's city council vote is about potentially cutting those minimum parking requirements, which a study from the University of Denver says could help the city with future projects. But not everyone is on board with this. So here's how we got here. The city of Denver says it needs to change its parking rules to comply with a state law that passed last year. That law says cities cannot have minimum parking requirements for multifamily complexes. But right now, Denver requires market rate apartments to have one space per unit. For restaurants, it's about 4 spaces per 1,000 square feet. So it's requirements like these that some people tell Denver 7 they support, since it can be pretty hard to find parking in the city.
All the new businesses, which are great, coming in. We love the neighborhood because of that, but it's now overflowing into the neighborhoods for sure.
And when it comes to removing that requirement, I spoke with DU's director of Rocky Mountain Land Use Institute, which held a study that showed removing those parking minimums would boost apartment construction by about 8% in certain economic conditions, especially when interest rates are high. She also says in order to stay competitive, developers will still need to have enough parking to attract renters.
There's a lot of market forces that help developers make smart choices about that. If they make the wrong choices, they won't be able to rent their buildings and they won't be economically successful.
City leaders say that rule change would remove some of the red tape, if you will, around apartment construction. They say developers would have to spend less time and money putting together these parking plans to submit in their development application. If they don't have to do that, maybe they could cut down the cost to build housing as well. Anusha.
Yeah, and we talk a lot about the city's efforts to transform historic buildings into housing, but how could eliminating parking requirements impact all of that?
Yeah, of course. So old buildings, a lot of them aren't built with parking garages like this one or parking spaces. So removing that minimum parking requirement clears one of the hurdles to help city leaders transform some of those historic buildings into more housing. In Denver, I'm Maggie Bryan, Denver 7.